My phone buzzes and I already know what it is. Alex, come to my office. The same message arrives every day at exactly 3 p.m. for the past month. Logan Rivers, our company's CEO, calls me to his office for just 15-20 minutes each time. No specific work, just discussing some files, drinking coffee, and then he dismisses me like nothing happened. I work in the marketing team, and I don't even report directly to him. So what's this whole scene about? The office people have started gossiping. Alex is getting special treatment. They whisper behind my back. But I can't understand what's going on in Logan's mind. He's always professional, serious face, expensive suits that probably cost more than my monthly salary. But when I'm in his office, he seems relaxed. He even laughs sometimes, and I've noticed the way his eyes crinkle when he does. Today when I knock on his door, he says, "Come in, Alex." I enter and he's at the coffee machine, his back turned to me. His shoulders are broad under that perfectly tailored navy suit. "One for you too?" he asks without looking. "Sure," I reply, confused as always. This has become our routine now. He makes coffee, sits across from me, talks about files that aren't even related to my department, and I pretend to understand why I'm here. The silence between us feels different today. Heavier. I watch him pour the coffee, his movements precise and controlled. Everything about Logan Rivers is controlled. His perfectly styled dark hair, his clean-shaven jaw, the way he never seems to have a single wrinkle in his clothes. But there's something in his eyes when he looks at me that I can't quite place. "How was your weekend?" he suddenly asks, and I almost choke on my coffee. This is the first personal question in a month of these mysterious meetings. "Good, sir. Spent time with family at home," I stammer, feeling heat rise to my cheeks. Why am I blushing? He nods thoughtfully. "Good. Family is important." Then we fall into 10 minutes of awkward silence where I can hear the clock ticking on his wall, the distant sound of office chatter, and my own heartbeat. I study his face during the silence. There are small lines around his eyes that suggest he's older than he looks. Maybe early 30s. His hands wrapped around the coffee mug are elegant, with long fingers and a simple silver watch that probably costs more than my car. When he finally speaks, his voice is softer than his usual business tone. "Okay, you can go." I leave his office more confused than ever. What just happened? Rachel from HR catches me in the corridor, her curiosity written all over her face. "Alex, what's the deal?" "Daily meetings with Logan, sir?" I shrug, trying to appear casual. "I honestly don't know. Nothing special happens." But that's not entirely true. There's something special about those 20 minutes, something I can't name but definitely feel. As I walk back to my desk, I can feel eyes following me. The whispers start as soon as I pass. "There goes Logan's favorite," someone mutters. "Wonder what he did to get that attention." Another voice adds with a snicker. My face burns with embarrassment and something else. Anger, maybe? I don't understand what's happening any more than they do. I try to focus on my work, but my mind keeps drifting back to Logan's office. The way he asked about my weekend seemed genuine, like he actually cared about the answer. And the way he said family is important, there was something wistful in his voice, like he was remembering something or missing something. The rest of the afternoon drags by. Every time my phone buzzes, my heart jumps, thinking it might be another message from him. But it's just work emails and random notifications. At 5 p.m. sharp, I see Logan leave through the glass windows of his corner office. He doesn't look in my direction, but I find myself watching him until he disappears into the elevator. During my commute home, I replay every moment of today's meeting. The way he handed me the coffee, making sure our fingers didn't accidentally touch. The way he sat back in his chair, one leg crossed over the other, completely relaxed in a way he never is during regular business meetings. The way his voice changed when he asked about my weekend, softer, more personal, almost intimate. I shake my head, trying to clear these thoughts. This is Logan Rivers we're talking about. The CEO who built this company from scratch, who's featured on business magazine covers, who probably has his pick of anyone he wants. Why would he be interested in me, a regular marketing employee who barely speaks during department meetings? But as I unlock my apartment door, I can't shake the feeling that something is building between us. Something unspoken but definitely there. The way he looks at me during those coffee sessions, like he's trying to figure out a puzzle. The way he seems to choose his words carefully, like he wants to say more but holds himself back. My phone buzzes with a text from my sister asking about dinner plans, but for a split second I hoped it was him, which is ridiculous, because Logan Rivers doesn't have my personal number, and even if he did, why would he text me after hours? I heat up leftover pizza and settle on my couch, but my mind is still in that corner office. Tomorrow it'll be the same routine. 3 p.m. message, 20 minutes of coffee and careful conversation, then dismissal. But maybe tomorrow I'll be brave enough to ask him what this is really about. Maybe tomorrow I'll understand why my heart races every time I see his name on my phone screen. As I drift off to sleep, I wonder if he thinks about these meetings too. Does he plan what to say to me? Does he count down to 3 p.m. like I do? Or am I reading too much into professional courtesy from a boss who's just being nice to his employees? But something tells me this isn't just professional courtesy. Something tells me Logan Rivers is hiding something, and somehow I'm part of whatever secret he's keeping. Today I arrived at the office early, my stomach churning with anticipation and anxiety. I keep glancing toward Logan's corner office from my desk, watching him through the glass walls as he works on his laptop. He arrived before anyone else as usual, perfectly put together in a charcoal gray suit that makes his shoulders look impossibly broad. I'm waiting for 3 p.m. like always, counting down the minutes until my phone will buzz with that familiar message. But today something different happens. At 2:45 p.m., Logan appears at my desk personally. The entire floor goes quiet, and I can feel 20 pairs of eyes watching us. My heart hammers against my ribs as I look up at him. He's close enough that I can smell his cologne, something expensive and subtle that makes my head spin. "Alex, are you free?" His voice is lower than usual, almost gentle. I stand up so quickly that my chair rolls backward and hits the desk behind me with a soft thud. "Yes, sir," I manage to say without my voice cracking. Several of my coworkers aren't even pretending to work anymore. They're openly staring at us. "Let's grab coffee," he says, and my world tilts slightly. Not in my office. The cafeteria. I'm shocked. The CEO wants to have coffee in the public cafeteria? With me? Everyone will see us. Everyone will talk. But I nod because what else can I do when Logan Rivers asks you for coffee? We walk through the office together, and I'm hyper-aware of everything. The click of his expensive shoes on the polished floor. The way people's conversations stop as we pass. The heat radiating from his body as he walks beside me. The elevator ride down to the cafeteria is silent but charged with something I can't name. In the cafeteria, Logan looks different. Relaxed, almost casual despite the perfect suit. We find a table in the corner, away from the few other employees scattered around. He sits across from me, and for the first time in a month of these meetings, he seems nervous. His fingers drum once against the table before he catches himself and stops. "I've been observing you for the past few weeks," he says suddenly, and my breath catches in my throat. "Observing?" I repeat, my voice barely above a whisper. The word sounds intimate somehow, loaded with meaning I'm afraid to examine. "Your work ethic, your dedication. It's impressive." Heat floods my cheeks and I look down at my hands wrapped around the coffee cup to hide my blush. "Actually, I want to promote you," he continues, and I almost drop my cup. "Senior marketing manager, you'd report directly to me." The words hit me like a physical force. A promotion? Direct reporting to the CEO? This is beyond anything I ever imagined. "Sir, this," I stammer, unable to form complete sentences. "Think about it." He interrupts with a smile that transforms his entire face. He looks younger when he smiles, less intimidating and more human. But there's something else too. He leans closer across the table and suddenly the busy cafeteria fades away. It's just him and me and the electric space between us. I can see gold flecks in his brown eyes that I never noticed before. "I want to get to know you personally too, Alex." His voice is so quiet I have to strain to hear him over the ambient noise. My breath catches. What does that mean? My heart is racing so fast I'm sure he can hear it. "Sir, I start to say, but he cuts me off gently. "Logan," he corrects. "Call me Logan." The way he says his own name, soft and almost vulnerable, makes something flutter in my chest. After that, we sit in silence for what feels like hours, but is probably only minutes. I can't process what just happened. A promotion, yes, but also something else. Something personal. Something that makes my skin tingle and my thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. Finally, Logan stands up. The promotion letter will be ready tomorrow, he says, his professional mask sliding back into place. Think about the rest. And then he's gone, leaving me alone in the cafeteria with my lukewarm coffee and a head full of questions. I sit there for 20 more minutes, replaying every word, every look, every moment. Logan Rivers, the CEO, wants to get to know me personally. What does that even mean? And why does the thought make me feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, terrified and exhilarated at the same time? When I finally return to my desk, the whispers start immediately. What was that about? Why did Logan take you to the cafeteria? Are you in trouble? I deflect their questions with non-committal answers. But inside I'm screaming. I want to call someone, tell someone what just happened, but who would believe me? Who would understand that my entire world just shifted in the space of a 20-minute coffee break? The rest of the afternoon is a blur. I can't concentrate on emails or reports. Every few minutes I glance toward Logan's office, but he's either on calls or his door is closed. Does he regret what he said? Is he as confused as I am about what's happening between us? At 6 p.m., most of the office has cleared out, but I'm still at my desk staring blankly at my computer screen. That's when I see Logan emerge from his office, briefcase in hand. As he passes my desk, he slows down. "Have a good evening, Alex," he says quietly, and there's something in his voice that makes my stomach flip. "You too, Logan," I reply, testing out his name without the formal title. He pauses for just a moment, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth, before continuing toward the elevators. As I watch him leave, I realize that everything has changed. The daily 3 p.m. meetings, the careful conversations, the way he looks at me when he thinks I'm not paying attention. It's all been leading this moment. Logan Rivers wants me, not just as an employee but as something more. The question is, what am I going to do about it? I pack up my things with shaking hands, my mind racing with possibilities and fears. Tomorrow there will be a promotion letter on my desk. Tomorrow I'll have to decide what I want from Logan Rivers, and what I'm willing to risk to get it. The promotion letter is sitting on my desk when I arrive the next morning, crisp and official with the company letterhead. Senior Marketing Manager, direct reporting to CEO, salary doubled. I read it 3 times before the words fully sink in. This is real. This is actually happening to me. But Logan didn't send it through HR like normal promotions. He delivered it personally. I can tell because there's a small handwritten note clipped to the back. "Congratulations. You deserve this." The handwriting is neat, controlled, just like everything else about him. But there's something intimate about seeing his personal writing, the way he forms his letters. Around noon, he appears at my desk again. The office is buzzing with the news of my promotion. Word travels fast in corporate environments, and everyone's watching our interaction with renewed interest. "Congratulations," he says with a genuine smile that makes my stomach do complicated things. "Celebration dinner tonight, my treat." I hesitate, very aware of the curious ears around us. This feels like crossing a line we can't uncross. "Sir, Logan," I correct myself quietly. "Is this professional or—" He looks directly into my eyes, and I see something vulnerable there. Something that makes this powerful man suddenly seem uncertain. "Whatever you want it to be," he says honestly, his voice low enough that only I can hear. The vulnerability in his expression decides it for me. "Okay," I whisper, and his smile transforms his entire face. The restaurant he chooses is upscale, the kind of place I've only seen in movies. We're seated in a private booth, tucked away from other diners, soft lighting casting everything in warm shadows. Logan has traded his usual business attire for dark jeans and a navy button-down that makes his eyes look deeper somehow. I dressed up too, wearing the one good shirt I own, and I catch him looking at me appreciatively when he thinks I'm not watching. After we order wine, expensive wine that I pretend to know something about, Logan leans back in the booth and studies me. "I want to be honest with you," he says, his fingers playing with the stem of his wine glass. "The past month of calling you to my office, the promotion wasn't the real reason. My heart starts racing. What was the real reason? I ask, though part of me already knows the answer. I missed you, he admits quietly, and the simple words hit me like a physical blow. Between meetings, between days, I found myself looking forward to those 20 minutes with you more than anything else in my schedule. You missed me? I repeat, my voice barely audible. This feels surreal, like I'm watching someone else's life unfold. Logan Rivers, CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, missed me? Alex, he continues, and there's something raw in his voice. I need you to know something. I'm gay. The words hang between us in the intimate space of our booth. And I've been attracted to you since the day you started working at the company 6 months ago. Silence. Complete, overwhelming silence. I can hear my own heartbeat, the soft murmur of other diners, the clink of glasses from the bar. I'm processing this information, trying to reconcile the professional, controlled Logan I know with this man sitting across from me, laying his heart bare. I start, then stop, swallowing hard. I felt something too. I finally manage, but I thought it was one-sided. I thought I was imagining it. His eyes light up with hope, and he leans forward eagerly. You're not imagining it, he says, reaching across the table. When his fingers brush mine, electricity shoots up my arm. The rest of dinner passes in a blur of conversation that feels more natural than any interaction we've had before. He tells me about building the company, about the loneliness that comes with being in charge, about how rare it is to find someone who sees him as just Logan instead of the CEO. I tell him about my dreams, my fears, my confusion about my own sexuality that his presence has brought into sharp focus. When he drives me home, the silence in his expensive car is comfortable for the first time. I'm hyper-aware of his hands on the steering wheel, the way his profile looks in the passing streetlights, the subtle scent of his cologne in the enclosed space. He parks outside my apartment building but doesn't immediately unlock the doors. Tomorrow at the office, everything will be professional, he promises, turning to face me. I won't let anyone think you got the promotion for the wrong reasons. But after hours, he pauses, and I can see the question in his eyes. Maybe we can explore this, whatever this is between us. I nod, my throat too tight to speak. Maybe, I whisper. He smiles, and it's soft and hopeful and terrifying all at once. I'd like that very much. As I'm getting out of the car, he calls my name. Alex? I turn back, and he's looking at me with an expression I can't quite read. I know this is complicated, but job, the office, everything. If you ever want to stop, if it gets too much, just tell me. I'll understand. The consideration in his voice, the way he's putting my comfort before his own desires, makes something warm spread through my chest. I will, I promise. But Logan, I don't want to stop. Not yet. I watch his car disappear around the corner before going inside, my mind reeling with everything that's happened. Logan Rivers is gay. He's attracted to me. He wants to explore whatever is building between us. And somehow, impossibly, I want that too. As I lie in bed that night, I replay every moment of the evening. The way he looked at me across the dinner table, like I was something precious he was afraid to break. The careful way he asked permission before reaching for my hand. The promise in his eyes when he talked about after hours. Tomorrow we'll go back to being boss and employee. We'll maintain professional distance. Careful not to give the office gossips more ammunition. But underneath that careful facade, something new and terrifying and wonderful will be growing. I fall asleep thinking about Logan's smile, about the way my name sounds in his voice, about the possibility that this powerful, incredible man might actually want ordinary. Confused me. It feels too good to be true, but for the first time in my life, I'm willing to take a risk to find out if it is. Walking into the office the next morning feels like entering a different world. Everything has changed, but somehow nothing has changed at all. Logan is back to his professional CEO persona during meetings, his voice crisp and authoritative as he discusses quarterly projections with the department heads. But I catch the stolen glances he sends my way when he thinks no one is looking. Those brief moments when his carefully constructed mask slips and I see something warmer underneath. My new office is twice the size of my old cubicle, with actual windows and a door I can close. The nameplate reads Alex Thompson, Senior Marketing Manager in elegant gold lettering. it still doesn't feel real. Every time I sit behind this mahogany desk, I wonder if I'm dreaming, if I'll wake up back in my cramped cubicle space wondering what could have been. During our coffee breaks, which are now legitimate work meetings given my new position, Logan asks personal questions that make my heart race and my palms sweat. Who was your first crush? He asks casually while reviewing campaign budgets, his pen tapping rhythmically against the conference table. I nearly choke on my latte. This guy in high school named David Martinez. I answer, feeling heat creep up my neck. You, college roommate, he admits with a small smile. Took me 2 years to realize what I was feeling wasn't just friendship. These moments of vulnerability make him seem less like the untouchable CEO and more like the man who held my hand across a dinner table just days. Did you have a boyfriend in college? The question comes out casual, but I can see the genuine curiosity in his eyes. We're alone in his office, the door closed, but I still glance around nervously before answering. 1. Jake. It lasted about 6 months before he decided he wasn't ready to be out. Logan's expression darkened slightly. I'm sorry, that must have been difficult. It was, I admit. I haven't really dated seriously since then. But not everyone is as supportive of my rapid career advancements. Rachel corners me by the copy machine during lunch, her expression troubled. Alex, your promotion was pretty sudden. Some people are starting to talk. My stomach drops like a stone. What kind of talk? I ask, though I already know the answer. Favoritism, she whispers, glancing around to make sure no one can overhear. About you and Logan, sir, having some kind of connection. The guilt hits me like a physical blow. Am I really deserving this promotion based on my skills? Or is Logan just blinded by whatever feelings he has for me? Have I become everything I hate about corporate politics? Someone who sleeps their way to the top. The thought makes me nauseous. What exactly are people saying? I press, needing to know how bad it is. Rachel shifts uncomfortably. Just that it's suspicious how quickly you moved up. How he personally delivered your promotion letter instead of going through HR. How he's been calling you to his office every day for a month. Each word is like a knife twist. Some people are wondering if you're, together. I spend the rest of lunch break in my office with the door closed, my head in my hands. Is this what our relationship will always be? Whispered rumors and suspicious glances. Can I handle being the subject of office gossip? Having my professional accomplishments questioned because of my personal feelings. Around 2 p.m., Logan appears in my doorway. He doesn't wait for permission to enter, just closes the door behind him and sits in the chair across from my desk. Everything okay? He asks, and I can tell he's noticed my mood. His CEO mask is firmly in place, but there's genuine concern in his eyes. People are talking, I admit, unable to meet his gaze. About favoritism. About us. I see his jaw tighten, the muscle there jumping as he processes this information. What kind of talk? His voice is controlled, but I can hear the underlying tension. That I got the promotion because we're involved. That you're playing favorites. The words taste bitter in my mouth. Logan is quiet for a long moment, his hands clasped in front of him on my desk. Alex, you got this promotion based on your skills, he says firmly, his voice leaving no room for argument. I've been observing your work for months. Your campaign for the Henderson account increased their sales by 30%. Your social media strategy for the Morrison launch exceeded all projections. Personal feelings are completely separate from your professional capabilities. But doubt still gnaws at me. Maybe we should keep our distance at the office. I suggest, hating how the words sound even as I say them. At least until people stop talking. The disappointment that flashes across his face is like a punch to the gut. If that's what makes you comfortable, he nods. But I can see I've hurt him. But after office hours, that's a different story. As he stands to leave, he accidentally brushes against my hand while reaching for a file on my desk. The contact sends electricity shooting up my arm, and I have to fight the urge to grab his hand and pull him back. Even this brief innocent touch feels charged with everything we're trying to hide. The rest of the afternoon drags by painfully. Every interaction with Logan is carefully professional, measured, cold. During the 4 p.m. marketing review meeting, he doesn't look at me once unless he's directly addressing something work-related. The easy rapport we'd been building is gone, replaced by the same formal distance that existed before our dinner. But at 6:30 p.m., when most of the office has emptied out, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Movie tonight? My place? L. I stare at the message for a full minute, my heart pounding. He got my personal number somehow, probably from HR files. This feels like crossing another line, bringing our whatever this is into my personal life. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Part of me wants to say no, to maintain the professional distance I suggested earlier. But a bigger part of me misses the Logan from dinner. The vulnerable man who admitted his feelings and asked permission before reaching for my hand. Yes, I text back before I can change my mind. What time? 7:30, I'll send you the address. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe what's happening between us is real and worth exploring. Regardless of what the office gossips think, maybe for once in my life, I should choose what makes me happy instead of what makes everyone else comfortable. As I pack up my things, I catch sight of Logan through his office windows. He's on a phone call, pacing behind his desk with his sleeves rolled up and his tie loosened. Even from a distance, even through glass, he's magnetic. When he notices me looking, he pauses mid-sentence and gives me a small smile that makes my stomach flutter. I smile back before I can stop myself, and for a moment, the careful professional distance we've maintained all day disappears. It's just him and me and the promise of an evening away from prying eyes and office politics. Tomorrow we'll go back to being careful, to maintaining the facade that we're just boss and employee. But tonight maybe we can figure out what we really mean to each other. Logan's apartment is everything I expected and nothing like I imagined. It's luxury, obviously. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Modern furniture that probably costs more than I make in a year. Artwork that looks like it belongs in a museum. But it's also surprisingly warm, lived in. There are books scattered on the coffee table, a half-finished crossword puzzle on the kitchen counter, a framed photo of what looks like his family on the mantelpiece. Wine? He offers, already moving toward what I assume is an extremely well-stocked bar cart. He's changed from his business attire into dark jeans and a soft gray sweater that makes him look younger, more approachable. More like the man who confessed his feelings over dinner than the intimidating CEO who runs board meetings. Sure, I reply, though I'm already nervous enough without alcohol. This is the first time I've been in his personal space, and everything feels more intimate here. The scent of his cologne lingers in the air, mixed with something that's purely him. I can see his bedroom door slightly ajar down the hallway, and the thought makes heat creep up my neck. He hands me a glass of red wine that probably costs more than my monthly grocery budget. Make yourself comfortable, he says, settling onto the couch and patting the cushion beside him. I sit down, hyper-aware of the space between us, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from his body but not quite touching. The movie he's chosen is some action thriller, but neither of us is really watching. I'm too conscious of every small movement he makes, the way his fingers tap against his wine glass, the way his sweater rides up slightly when he reaches for the remote. Tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. About halfway through the movie, during what should be a climactic chase scene, Logan suddenly hits pause. "Alex," he says, turning to face me fully. The seriousness in his voice makes my heart skip. "Are you okay with this? Whatever this is becoming between us." I look at him, really look at him. His handsome face is open, vulnerable in a way I've never seen before. This powerful man who commands boardrooms and makes million-dollar decisions looks uncertain, almost scared. "I don't know," I answer honestly. "I'm terrified." "Actually, of what?" His voice is gentle, encouraging. I take a sip of wine for courage before answering. "Of people finding out, of losing my job, of this being temporary, just some experiment for you that ends when you get bored." The words spill out in a rush. All my fears laid bare. "You're Logan Rivers. You could have anyone you want. Why would you choose someone like me?" Instead of answering immediately, he moves closer on the couch, close enough that our knees touch. "Alex, look at me." When I meet his eyes, I see nothing but sincerity there. "I'm serious about you," he whispers. "This isn't temporary for me. This isn't some whim or experiment." Before I can respond, before I can overthink or panic or find another reason to push him away, He leans closer. Our faces are inches apart, and I can feel his breath against my skin. "Can I kiss you?" he asks softly, his voice rough with want. I nod, not trusting my voice, and then his lips are on mine and everything else disappears. The kiss is soft at first, tentative, like he's afraid I'll pull away. But when I actually lean into him instead, his hand comes up to cup my cheek, his thumb stroking along my jawline, and I melt completely. When we finally break apart, I'm breathless and dizzy. "Logan," I start to say, but he's already worried I'm having second thoughts. "Too fast?" he asks, his forehead creased with concern. "Did I push too hard?" "No," I breathe, still feeling the ghost of his lips on mine. "Just overwhelming." In the best possible way. Relief floods his expression and he smiles, that soft, genuine smile that transforms his entire face. "I can wait," he promises, stroking my cheek with the back of his knuckles. "However long you need to feel comfortable with this." The consideration in his voice, the way he's putting my comfort above his own desires, makes something warm expand in my chest. "Thank you," I whisper, leaning into his touch. "For what?" "For being patient. For understanding." "Alex, you're worth waiting for," he says simply, and the sincerity in his voice nearly undoes me. We spend the rest of the evening curled up together on his couch, not really watching the movie that's still paused on the screen. Instead, we talk about everything and nothing. He tells me about growing up as the youngest of 3 brothers, about how he always felt different but couldn't name why until college. I share stories about my family, about my struggles with coming out, about my fears of never finding someone who would love all of me. "What was it like?" I ask during a comfortable lull in conversation. "Realizing you were gay?" He's quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing abstract patterns on my shoulder where his arm is wrapped around me. "Terrifying," he admits. "I was 20, and everything I thought I knew about myself suddenly didn't make sense anymore. I spent 2 years convinced I was just confused, that it was just a phase." He pauses, his voice becoming softer. "What about you?" "Similar, I guess. High school was hell. I knew I was different, but I couldn't admit it to myself until I was almost 18. Even then, it took years to be okay with it." I feel his arm tighten round me slightly, protectively. "Are you okay with it now?" he asks. I consider the question seriously. Most days, yes. But being with you, it's bringing up a lot of fears I thought I'd worked through. "What kind of fears?" "That people will look at me differently. That my career will suffer. That I'll always be seen as the gay guy who slept his way to the top instead of someone who earned his position." The words come out more bitter than I intended. Logan shifts so he can look at me directly. "Alex, anyone who knows your work knows you earned that promotion. And anyone who would judge you for being gay isn't worth your time or energy." He pauses, his expression becoming more intense. "But I understand the fear. I've spent years being careful about who I let into my life because I was afraid of exactly what you're describing." "Do you regret it? Being careful for so long?" He considers this, his thumb still stroking along my shoulder. "Sometimes, I wonder what would have happened if I'd been braver earlier, if I'd let myself want things instead of just focusing on work." His eyes meet mine, but then I think that maybe everything happened the way it was supposed to. Maybe I needed to wait until now to meet you. The tenderness in his voice makes my throat tight. "Logan, I know it's complicated," he continues. "I know there are risks, but I think you're worth the risk, Alex. I think we're worth the risk." As the evening winds down, I feel safe in his arms in a way I haven't felt in years. But there's also a nagging fear in the back of my mind. Tomorrow we'll have to go back to the office, back to pretending we're just boss and employee. Can we really maintain this secret? And for how long? I should probably head home, I say reluctantly as the clock approaches midnight. "Early meeting tomorrow." "Of course," he agrees, but I can see the disappointment in his eyes. As he walks me to the door, he catches my hand. "Alex, whatever happens at work, whatever people say or think, don't let it make you doubt this. What we have is real." I squeeze his hand, drawing strength from his certainty. "I'll try. I promise. That's all I can ask for," he replies, pressing a soft kiss to my forehead before letting me go. The drive home is quiet, but my mind is racing. Everything has changed between us tonight. We've crossed a line we can't uncross, and tomorrow I'll have to face the office, knowing what his lips taste like, knowing how it feels to be held in his arms. The question is, can I keep this secret, or will our connection be written all over my face for everyone to see? Monday morning arrives with an oppressive weight I can feel before I even open my eyes. The weekend feels like a dream now. Logan's apartment, his arms around me, the taste of his lips. But reality hits hard as I walk into the office. There's a weird vibe in the air, like electricity before a storm. People are staring more openly now, conversations stopping when I pass by, whispers following in my wake. I try to focus on work, reviewing campaign proposals and responding to emails, but my concentration keeps drifting to Logan's office across the floor. Through the glass walls, I can see him in back-to-back meetings, his professional mask firmly in place. He looks completely unaffected by our evening together, while I feel like everything that happened between us is written across my forehead in permanent ink. At 10 a.m., I'm heading to his office for our scheduled marketing review, when Rachel intercepts me in the hallway. Her expression is troubled, almost panicked. "Alex, wait," she says, grabbing my arm. "We need to talk." "What's wrong?" I ask, though the sinking feeling in my stomach suggests I already know. "Be careful," she warns, glancing around to make sure no one can overhear. "There are rumors circulating in the HR department. About you and Logan, sir." My blood runs cold. The coffee I had this morning threatens to come back up. "What kind of rumors?" I manage to ask. "People saw you two at Meridian Restaurant last week. Someone took a photo of you leaving together." She shows me her phone, and there it is. A blurry but unmistakable image of Logan and me walking out of the upscale restaurant, his hand on the small of my back as he guides me toward his car. The world tilts sideways. "Rachel, this is—" "I'm not judging you," she interrupts quickly, "but HR is starting to ask questions about your promotion. About the timing, about whether proper protocols were followed." Each word is like a hammer blow. "They're talking about launching an investigation." I lean against the wall, feeling dizzy. An HR investigation would destroy everything. My career, my reputation, Logan's position as CEO. Companies don't take kindly to executives who date their subordinates, especially when promotions are involved. "What should I do?" I whisper. "I don't know," Rachel admits. "But be prepared. They might call you in for questioning soon." She squeezes my arm sympathetically before heading back to her desk, leaving me standing alone in the hallway, my entire world crumbling around me. The meeting with Logan is torture. He's completely professional, discussing quarterly projections and marketing strategies. But I'm so distracted I can barely follow the conversation. When the other attendees leave and it's just the two of us, he immediately notices my state. "Everything all right?" he asks, his CEO voice softening into something more concerned. "You seem distracted." I want to tell him everything, but the words stick in my throat. "Rachel said there are rumors in HR." I finally manage. "About us. Someone saw us at the restaurant." Logan's face hardens, his jaw clenching. "What kind of rumors?" "That my promotion wasn't merit-based. That we're involved. They might launch an investigation." The words tumble out in a rush. "Logan, this could destroy your career. The board won't tolerate a CEO who dates his employees." For a long moment, he's silent, his hands clasped tightly in front of him. "Let me handle this," he finally says, his voice firm and controlled. "Don't worry about the investigation. I'll make sure it doesn't happen." "How?" "I have my ways. The board trusts me, and I have documentation of your work performance dating back months. No one can question your qualification." But even as he says it, I can see the concern in his eyes. This is bigger than both of us now. At lunchtime, Logan calls an impromptu department meeting. My heart stops as everyone files into the conference room, confused murmurs filling the space. He stands at the head of the table, every inch the commanding CEO, and I've never seen him look more intimidating. "I want to address some rumors that have been circulating," he announces, his voice carrying easily through the room. The silence that follows is deafening. Alex's promotion was entirely merit-based. Anyone who has questions about his qualifications is welcome to review his work portfolio and performance evaluations. His eyes sweep the room, landing briefly on me with a reassuring look. Personal relationships do not influence business decisions in this company, and I will not tolerate speculation that suggests otherwise. The message is clear, but I can see it in their faces. The damage is already done. People are looking at me differently, some with suspicion, others with a mixture of pity and curiosity. The rest of the day passes in a haze of awkward interactions and whispered conversations that stop when I enter a room. By 6 p.m., when most of the office has cleared out, I'm emotionally drained. I'm packing up my things when Logan appears in my doorway. "Mind if I come in?" he asks, but he's already closing the door behind him and taking a seat across from my desk. "I'm sorry," he says immediately. "I should have been more careful. I should have thought about the consequences." The guilt in his voice breaks my heart. "Logan, this isn't your, isn't it? I'm the one who pursued you. I'm the one who took you to a public restaurant. I'm the one who couldn't keep my personal feelings separate from business." I stand up and walk around the desk, sitting in the chair beside him instead of maintaining the professional distance. "Maybe we should stop this," I say quietly, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. "Before it gets worse. Before we both lose everything." His face falls and I see genuine pain flash across his features. "You want to end this?" he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to," I admit, my own voice breaking. "But maybe it's better for both of us. Maybe it's the smart thing to do." "Alex, don't make decisions based on other people's opinions," he pleads, leaning forward in his chair. "Don't let fear drive your choices." "It's not just fear," I argue. "It's reality. We can't have a relationship when you're my boss. The power dynamic, the gossip, the professional consequences. It's too much." "Then I'll step down," he says suddenly, and I stare at him in shock. "What?" "I'll resign as CEO. Find something else. Then we'd be equals." The fact that he would even consider giving up everything he's worked for me, makes my chest tight with emotion. "Logan, no, you can't throw away your career for this." "For me? Why not? What's the point of success if I'm miserable?" He reaches for my hands, holding them tightly. "Alex, I don't want to lose you. Not professionally, not personally, but if I have to choose." "I need time to think," I interrupt, unable to process what he's suggesting. "I need space to figure out what's right." He nods sadly, releasing my hands. "Okay, but I want you to know, I'll wait. However long you need, whatever you decide, I'll respect it. But I won't give up on us without a fight." After he leaves, my office feels impossibly empty. I sit alone in the growing darkness, city lights beginning to twinkle outside my window, and try to make sense of everything that's happened. Logan Rivers is willing to give up his position as CEO for the possibility of a relationship with me. The thought is both terrifying and exhilarating. But is love worth the risk? Is what we have worth potentially destroying both our careers? As I finally gather my things to leave, I realize that maybe the question isn't whether it's worth the risk. Maybe the question is whether I'm brave enough to find out. The elevator ride down to the parking garage feels endless, and with each floor I become more certain of one thing. Whatever decision I make, it has to be about what I want, not what other people think I should want. For once in my life, I need to choose my own happiness. Consequences be damned. Tomorrow I'll give Logan my answer. Tonight I need to figure out what that answer is going to be. The next morning I wake up with a clarity I haven't felt in days. After spending the entire night pacing my apartment, weighing every possible outcome, I finally know what I have to do. My reflection in the bathroom mirror shows tired eyes but a determined expression. Today everything changes. I arrive at the office early, before most people, and head straight to Logan's office. Through the glass walls, I can see him already at his desk, probably having been there since dawn. He looks up when I knock, and the hope mixed with apprehension in his eyes almost breaks my resolve. "Alex," he says, standing immediately. "I didn't expect you this early." His voice is carefully neutral, but I can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands clench and unclench at his sides. "I have your answer," I say simply, closing the door behind me. The click of the lock echoes in the quiet office. For a moment we just stare at each other across the space that has become more familiar over these past months. "Before you say anything," Logan interrupts, moving around his desk, "I want you to know that whatever you decide, I respect it completely. If you choose your career, your peace of mind, I'll understand. I'll make sure the HR situation disappears, and we can go back to being professional colleagues. Logan, I say softly, and he falls silent. I've spent my entire life making safe choices, choosing what other people expected, what made sense, what protected me from getting hurt. I take a step closer to him. But last night I realized something. I don't want to be safe anymore. His eyes widen slightly, hope beginning to bloom across his features. Alex, I choose you, I say firmly. I choose us. Whatever consequences come, whatever people say, whatever challenges we face, I want to face them with you. The relief that washes over his face is immediate and overwhelming. Are you sure? He asks, his voice rough with emotion. Because once we do this, there's no going back. People will talk. There might be investigations. Your career could be affected. Then we'll handle it together. I interrupt. You are willing to give up your position for me. The least I can do is be brave enough to fight for what we have. Before I can say another word, Logan crosses the remaining distance between us and cups my face in his hands. I love you, he whispers. And the words hit me like a physical force. I know it's too soon to say it, but I do. I love you, Alex. I love you too. I breathe, and then his lips are on mine. This kiss is different from the one in his apartment. More desperate, more certain, full of relief and promise and the weight of the decision we've just made. We're so lost in each other that we don't hear the knock on the door until it comes again. More insistent this time. We break apart, both breathing hard, and Logan straightens his tie while I try to compose myself. Come in, Logan calls, his CEO voice back in place. Rachel enters, looking nervous and apologetic. I'm sorry to interrupt, she begins, then stops, her eyes darting between us. She can probably read what just happened written all over our faces. HR wants to see both of you. Now, my stomach drops, but Logan reaches for my hand, giving it a quick squeeze. It's okay, he murmurs. We faced this together, remember? The HR conference room feels like a tribunal. 3 senior HR executives sit across from us, their expressions serious and professional. Logan sits beside me, close enough that our knees almost touch under the table. A silent show of solidarity. We've received some concerning reports. The head of HR, Margaret Chen, begins. About the nature of your professional relationship and the circumstances surrounding Alex's recent promotion. Logan leans forward, his voice steady and authoritative. Before we go any further, I want to address this directly. Yes, Alex and I are in a personal relationship. Yes, it began after his promotion was already decided based purely on his professional merits. I have extensive documentation of his performance evaluations and work quality spanning months before any personal involvement. The honesty in his voice, the way he's protecting me while being completely transparent, makes my chest tight with emotion. Margaret nods slowly. We appreciate your candor, Logan. However, you understand our position. The optics of this situation are problematic. The CEO dating a direct report. Then I resign my position as CEO, Logan says calmly. And my heart stops. Effective immediately. I'll transition to a consulting role or find a position elsewhere. Alex keeps his job, his promotion and his reputation intact. Logan, no. I speak for the first time, my voice stronger than I expected. You built this company. You don't have to give it up. I turn to face the HR panel. I'll transfer to a different department. Marketing coordinator under someone else's supervision. We'll eliminate any conflict of interest while keeping our personal relationship separate from business. Margaret exchanges glances with her colleagues. That could work, she admits. A lateral transfer, different reporting structure. It would address the ethical concerns. But, Logan interjects, I want it on record that Alex earned his promotion based on merit alone. His transfer should come with the same salary and benefits, just different responsibilities. 2 weeks later, I'm settling into my new role as senior brand coordinator, under the creative director. It's different work, but challenging and rewarding. More importantly, Logan and I no longer have to hide our relationship at the office. Walking into the break room to find him making 2 cups of coffee, just like those early days in his office, I smile. Some things never change, I comment, accepting the mug he offers. Some things shouldn't change, he agrees. leaning down to kiss me softly. A few coworkers smile at us, accepting and supportive now that everything is out in the open. Any regrets? I ask as we walk back toward our respective departments. Logan stops, turning to face me fully. About falling in love with you? Never. About fighting for us? Not for a second. His eyes are warm and certain. Best decision I ever made. As I watch him disappear around the corner toward his office, I realize he's right. Choosing love. Choosing each other. Choosing to be brave. It was the best decision I ever made too. Some risks are worth taking. Some fights are worth having. And some love is worth everything.